forward to chatting with you all.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've really been a big fan of your work. Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back to Storybrooke, Maine, with 4 members of the cast of Once Upon a Time, and now we invite all of you in our chat room to begin your questions for them. Immediately after this session, you will have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as shop our selection of personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. And with further ado, let's wish upon a star and bring them out. Our first guest is an actor of stage and screen whose body of work includes the Zorro films, Continuum, and Stargate SG-1. Today he joins us to discuss the role of Marco, aka Geppetto. Please welcome Tony Amendola.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing well, as well can be expected, hanging in, trying to keep busy, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you all.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've really been a big fan of your work, of course, Stargate, of course. And curiously enough, you've worked on some of my favorite shows that have kind of undervalued. Space Above and Beyond.
That's right.
Intelligence. And Hooperman, which is has really become criminally forgotten, in my opinion.
Wow, that's a wide range of shows.
Yeah, well, I got this job because I watched a lot of stuff. So, yeah. But absolutely, I just want to say thank you for all your work, and thank you for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to finally meet you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And speaking of people to meet, our next guest is an actor, director, producer whose credits include the Mass Effect video game series, Star Trek Voyager, and the Emmy-nominated documentary LA Foodways. Today he joins us to discuss the role of psychiatrist Archibald Archie Hopper, aka Jiminy Cricket. Please welcome Raphael Savage.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing today, boss?
I'm good. We couldn't come to you, so we're coming to you, right? So basically,
absolutely. So glad to have you here. Is everything good in your corner of the world?
Yes, it's a nice, cool, brisk, sunny day in New York City.
Oh, absolutely. Well, so glad to have you. And like Tony, you've worked on several stuff outside of Once Upon a Time that I'm a big fan of as well. You've gone both ways in sci-fi. You've been involved with Star Wars and Star Trek, which is not as common as people think.
That's funny. And Tony and I are old friends. We worked together in the theater, so we're part of a theater company that we were so happy when we got to work together on this show too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you did a stint on Long as well, another favorite of mine. So again, thank you for your work on that. And speaking of work, our next guest is an actor whose credits include Heroes Reborn, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, and Sleepy Hollow. Today he joins us to discuss the role of the malevolent Peter Pan. Please welcome back Robbie Kay.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey Robbie, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. This is great.
Of course. How are your holidays?
Yeah, good. Nice and lonely given the lockdown, so we're just isolating as much as we can, not seeing any of our friends. It's great.
And yeah, like I said, like the mantra for last year was, doing okay is the new awesome. I think we're all glad to have gotten that far. And despite a little rough start, I have some optimism that 2021 is going to bring a better world than the last year.
Let's hope so.
Indeed. As speaking of hope and speaking of things that are awesome, our friend of this is an actress and filmmaker whose body of work includes House, How I Met Your Mother, Batman Hush, and the award-winning film Sundogs. Today she joins us to discuss the role of Emma Swan. Please welcome back the always awesome Jennifer Morrison.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh.
I realized I've been sitting over here clapping as you guys entered, like as if you could hear me. I've been like, yay! Oh my God.
You're not alone. The people in the chat room at home are doing the same thing. So Jennifer, always a pleasure to have you back. How have you been?
Good. Yeah, busy but good.
busy is good, especially nowadays.
Yes, that's true. It is unusual.
So, yeah, well, again, like I said before, it was an unusual year. But we're moving on, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. And speaking of, first of all, everyone, thank you for joining us here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage. As always, we look forward to the day, maybe this year, when the world does get back to normal and we can host you on our physical stages and get you all back in front of your fans. In the meantime, we have this forum, and right now our team is going through the chat room, pulling out the questions for us. In the meantime, we've heard the stories from Jennifer and Robbie. So Raphael and Tony, as our newbies, would love to hear. I'd love to hear the audience. Let them know how you came to these roles once upon a time.
Tony, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You know, it was very interesting. It was sort of a standard audition, but what was fascinating about it is the sides I auditioned for were from, I believe they were from Mount Rushmore. I remember that movie. And so it was sort of an interesting way into the character because I really didn't have very much in the pot. And it was sort of a wonderful surprise. I love Vancouver. I've done a fair amount of work up there, and so it feels like home away from home. And you know, I love fairy tales. So I was really, really very thrilled to be a part of the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. We certainly enjoyed. Yeah,
Sweet.
Look at that.
yeah, absolutely. When you got the role, did they sit down with you and kind of go over the overall plans, or was it just you found out when you got the script for that week? He'll come back and he'll tell us that. Raphael, you're up.
He didn't like that question, Patty.
Yeah, I think he.
Okay, it's
the guy.
you're not allowed to talk. It's like The Walking Dead. We don't talk about anything at all. All right.
He's almost back. He's cycling. I feel like that should be the symbol for 2020.
It is
Sorry about that.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. So the question was, did they sit down and really give you an idea of the arc, what was going on? I mean, did you know he was Geppetto up front, or he was just a character?
Oh, yeah. No. I knew he was Geppetto. I didn't know much about him. Also, you know, I went away to gather my thoughts. Just.
Oh yes, of course.
You know, what was fascinating is I just loved when we got into it because they allowed me a certain amount of freedom. He wasn't just simply a nice old, and so we were able to take in a kind of way. I remember it was the episode. It was the connection between Ralph and myself. We were able to take the heart of Geppetto and occasionally make him much fiercer in defense of his son. And yes, I love that. And I also love the sense. The image I used is when Pinocchio went through. It was an immigrant story to me. It was like someone in Ireland or someone in Italy or someone in Spain looking at their family going away on a ship that you may never ever see again, and that touched me deeply. And it was a wonderful, it made it more concrete as opposed to it living in a fairyland sort of place. Adam and Eddie were very, very welcoming. They instilled a certain amount of confidence in you that they really were interested in, that you were bringing to it. And it's such an iconic character in some ways that I wanted to find a slightly different take.
And that's a good point to pause on. Raphael, take it away.
Go. And he's frozen. So, I mean, like Tony, it was sort of, it was an audition. And I remember asking, you're going for cricket. And I said, is this like a voice match or what do they want? And they said, no, just keep it real. And it was sort of kind of the I guess the cornerstone of what ultimately they did. So the scene that was in the pilot was again a brief scene. Jennifer pulled up in her yellow, Volkswagen Bug with. We were on a street, and Henry was there, and I was.
But there was also someone else there. Pongo the dog.
Was there? Yes, Pongo.
Pongo the dog.
Pongo was there, right?
Very clear that Pongo was there.
Pongo really, whenever he was there, he definitely made his self known, right? Pongo was agility.
Well, that dog was what, 5 feet tall and 8 feet long? I mean,
no, he was the agility champion of Canada, right? Which you think, well, it's a big deal, and the way they train them, of course, is that they put weighted kind of packs on them when they train them. So on the day of the the actual competition, they take them off, and they're like the space shuttle. So this dog, he loved his trainer. So I would hold on to him, and then they'd go cut. Like, whoa! And I just,
No, Raphael deserves all the awards in the world for what he did with this dog. This dog was so strong. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard remembering it.
He was really
He was acting his socks off while he was
and then he had a really loud tail that would go whack, 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 whack.
His tail was dangerous. I'm like spitting on myself. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I loved him.
Like Raphael, you would know from his face. I'm sorry. He
No,
was giving this beautiful performance from here down. It was just wrapped around by this dog.
The night we actually shot it, we shot it in Vancouver. It was like 2 a.m.
It was so cold.
Cold, beyond cold. It was like your bones were cold. They had a big fan that was blowing. It was raining. Poor, the Henry character, he was gone. Jared was gone. It was too late. So they had like a stand-in. I was there shaking, freezing. Pongo was pulling me. It was like every possible obstacle you could do. And it was like, okay, relax and make it real. And you got, this scene. Anyway.
We were trying so hard to keep a straight face, too, because we just wanted to do it. We were both so cold and the dog was such a disaster. All we wanted was to accomplish it, but it was so ridiculous. It was just we were doing what I'm doing now. It was just bursting into cry laughing.
Jennifer, we've had you here 4 or 5 times this past year. This is the most busted up I've ever seen you.
Because I'm just remembering the circumstances that we were in, and then they kept bringing back the same dog. This dog did not want to be an actor. Oh, not interested.
Well, we grew to love him, but I definitely learned to drop the leash.
He was so sweet, and he was a great dog. He just didn't want to be an actor. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was a good laugh.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know cold until you stood in Steveston at 2 a.m. in the winter in the rain.
Giant fans on you in the rain.
Oh,
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah. Anyway, they of course were incredibly kind and excited, and had were wonderful at making us all feel very
There he is.
welcome. There he is, and I saved up money for lots of chiropractors, and we had a good time. I mean, he and I became close. He had a wonderful way. I'll just leave it at this: of jumping up and putting his arms basically around you and kind of hugging you, and it was very, very sweet.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. On the days where you just voicing the cricket form, did that maybe make up for it because you just had to go on in and do recording, or were you off camera during those regardless?
Yes, some of the early scenes I was off camera just because it was helping with the actors, and then as we got farther in, they would have me voice it later on. So I like being there, obviously, and I think it helped the actors. But yeah. I mean, it wasn't in every scene, right? But just memorably in that first scene with Jennifer and I and Jared, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let me ask everybody this: what's become Besides that, with the fans and the dogs and the what's become a favorite memory from being associated with all this?
Oh man, there's so many things. It's interesting as time passes too. Like the shape of the memories of it change. You know, like the things that stand out kind of shift over time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, a lot of the first season I felt like was what felt exciting to me was just that we were really allowing these characters, and I mean I was an invention, so it was a little bit different for me, but like we were allowing these characters that had been in the mythology of Disney for so long, the female characters, to really have so much autonomy and strength and wield weapons and things like that, where, you know, now I think we're all very used to that because it's become the norm, but at the time that was brand new, you know, and no one had ever put a sword in Snow White's hands. And it was up for debate a big time in terms of how, you know, certain powers that be felt at the time. And by doing that on the show, and by what Addie and Adam did in terms of empowering these female characters, it just really, now looking back, I feel really lucky and proud to have been a part of a show that really started to change the norm with that stuff. So a lot of my most favorite memories, besides, you know, Rolf and Pongo and I in the rain, is like, you know, really the stuff that sticks over time, you know, that might be subtle but does make a difference, you know.
Yeah. It's funny what you're saying, because it's true depending on what day you ask me, you know, because there's so many memories. But I just, while you're talking, I had this memory of, you know, we did the show. We had no idea, of course, how it would go. I thought the first season was breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. The stories were incredible. Every department delivered so much more than you imagined. And we were kind of going along. I think it was the beginning of the second season. And we were, you know, shooting in Stevenson and kind of quietly kind of doing our thing. And then literally one day to the next, everyone showed up.
Yeah.
And literally, like, we were, it was sort of kind of, it was a little scary actually, but exciting. But suddenly it was like we had been discovered, and they had really no security. People were literally walking into scenes. Fans had shown up at Stevenson hearing that we were there, and suddenly it was like, whoa! And they had vans and actors having to jump in vans and get away because people were. It was sort of like. The ladies had become the Beatles, and they were all there to kind of get a piece of them. Suddenly overnight, it sort of felt like, oh wow, this is a very different temperature from where we started.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So always interesting to think how what one season of TV can change everything.
Yeah,
with respect to the trajectory of the production itself, you know.
Yeah.
The first season, you're just completely unaware. You have no idea how it's going to be received. And then season two, as actors and as crew, you are aware about how it's been received. And seeing that physical reaction is crazy.
Right, that moment. Do you remember that, Jennifer, that day? Were you there that day?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do remember being there. I don't remember what we were shooting though. Like that's what I keep trying to think of. I'm trying to think of like what it was that we were actually shooting that day. But
it was you and Jimmy or something. I can't remember. Jimmy was here.
Was it the day we had the wolf? Was it that thing with Jimmy Dornan and the? But that was no, because that would have been first season.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it was but it was interesting because it was like, especially because I guess I had never House had been seen by so many people, but we shot that on a stage, you know, like we were never somewhere where people could just like know that we were going to be somewhere and show up. Right. So that was everything about that was very like private. So it was just interesting to adjust to that when that happened. Like, you know, I always had this weird panicky feeling of like, there was no backstage. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if that's just because I started on stage, and so like that's how I've always felt like, you know, it's why I love the word action from a director. You know, like some people, I know that everybody works differently. It's like some directors don't even like to say action, and they like want people to just sort of naturally roll into it. But for me, the word action is super magical because it like gives me permission to to completely leave myself and go into whatever I need to go into. And so similarly, so for me, that word is sort of like coming from backstage to on stage if I were doing theater, right? So it was suddenly very, I felt very exposed that we were going to be delivering these performances with no backstage. You know what I mean? Like it was just, we were always being watched, and there was no moment before action where you were like, you know, God forbid you had something in your teeth, or you were trying to grab a drink of water really quick, or what. It was like everyone was waiting for the weird moment so that photo could
People
go everywhere.
Taking pictures,
Right.
You know,
very, very long lenses.
And then there were literally hundreds of people from all over the world.
Yeah. And it's exciting because you feel like, oh, this thing that I do every day means something to people, so much so that they would travel. And, you know, like, so there's this warmth and this total gratefulness that people are like appreciating this thing that you work so hard on. And at the same time, there's this really scary feeling of exposure where you're like trying to figure out how to give your best performance while you feel super exposed. I don't know how else to put it, you know, because you're not like mad at it. You also know that it's coming from such a beautiful place. So it's a very odd catch-22 experience. And I have never, that's the only show I've ever worked on that I had to find some way to navigate that weird kind of double thing that was happening.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's that's a very interesting experience you've shared, because in our live shows, whenever a fan asks, "Oh, did you always know it was going to be a success?" I usually transpose that question into, when did you realize that the show had become or the movie had become a success? And that, and this is exactly that moment when it was like,
right? It was just boom,
Yeah. I think someone was also sort of facilitating it. There were people online that were like creating tourist experiences. So I think that might have coincided with it. I don't really know. I never did enough research to really know, but I think there were certain people who were like coordinating those buses and offering like, you know, come and stay for however long and I'll show you around Stevenson and things like that. So, you know, I'm some of that started, once it started to get a little bit more like collectively organized, that's when it was like bigger groups that were up, you know.
I there's no doubt in my mind something like that. Again, you know, I warn everybody, never underestimate the power of fandom.
It's amazing though. I mean, I always say, like, I love it because in the world else can you point to where people just come together because they love something?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're sharing and celebrating something that they love together, not like fighting over something. It's not a sporting event where it's two teams and one person's against another person. It's literally just a community coming together because they share a common love. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And once upon a time,
what is that outfit she's wearing? I don't know. Oh, it's the jacket from last season, episode 7. Oh yeah, that's season 8.
No, it's true. I mean, it was like, there are people who knew more about my different red jackets than I did, I think, you know?
Yeah, that could be so. So, Robbie, what's your takeaway from your whole experience, on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time, it was to date one of the best experiences I've had on any film or TV set. It was such a sense of camaraderie, such a sense of family, just from day one.
You know, come and stay for however long and I'll show you around Stevenson and things like that. So, you know, I think some of that started, once it started to get a little bit more like collectively organized, that's when it was like bigger groups that were showing up, you know?
There's no doubt in my mind something like that. Again, you know, I warn everybody, never underestimate the power of fandom.
It's amazing though. I mean, I always say, like, I love it because what in the world else can you point to where people just come together because they love something?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're sharing and celebrating something that they love together, not like fighting over something. It's not a sporting event where it's two teams and one person's against another person. It's literally just a community coming together because they share a common love. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And once upon a time,
What is that outfit she's wearing? I don't know. Oh, that's the jacket from last season, episode 7. Oh yeah, that's season 8.
No, it's true. I mean, there were people who knew more about my different red jackets than I did, I think,
Again, that could be so. So, Robbie, what's your takeaway from your whole experience, on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time, it was to date one of the best experiences I've had on any film or TV set. It was such a sense of camaraderie, such a sense of family just from day one. For me, everyone was very welcoming, introduced themselves, very, very nice, very sweet to me. I was only 17 when I came on the set for the first time, so it's very, very easy for people to sort of, be dismissive if you're younger or sort of treat you as such, but everyone kind of treated me as their equal, which is very nice and means a lot. So yeah, it was great. Not much else to say really. The whole package, just between the people and the location, where we were shooting, is some of the most beautiful places in the world are up there. It's exactly the kind of place that I like to be, with the mountains and the forests and the rivers, and it's just all of that is just amazing. So to be able to work and live in that environment, even for just a short period of time, is a huge privilege. So yeah, I had an amazing time.
Obviously, and it certainly showed. I mean, the zeal you brought to that role, because that's Pan's tricky. Pan is really tricky at the boyish exuberance and everything else, and the sinister layer that they added onto it. Which, when you're a grown up, and if you relook at Peter Pan, every adult I know I've revisited said, yeah, Peter Pan kind of was a little bit of a bastard. So.
Yeah, lots going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when Tony gets back, we'll relink up with him. Hopefully, we'll come back. In the meantime, we're going to go on audience questions. So let's shift over into those. And Jude, roll our first one, and this comes from Anonymous, and they would like to know if you could play another character. We'll say on the show. Who would it be and why?
My go-to is always Rumpelstiltskin, just because he's so interesting.
I think we should all play Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, I'd say
Rumpelstiltskins.
Yeah, for me, like, my character was always like only in, I guess, one realm for most of the time. I liked how that character had such an insane duality between the real life version and the fairy tale version. So I really like what Bobby did with that, and yeah, I would always choose that character.
So it's hard to go wrong with that choice. Everybody else is going to say Rumpelstiltskin? Or is anybody got another?
It's a great answer. I mean, it's hard.
They could jump on. Tony!
Hey.
If you could play another character on the show, who would you choose?
Oh, God. Who doesn't want the Rumpelstiltskin? Who
there you go.
We all chose Rumpelstiltskin.
If you really want to have if you want to have a crazy time, a real crazy time, I guess you want to play Dr. Whale.
All right. I totally forgot about Dr. Whale.
That's right.
True.
AKA Dr. Frankenstein, yeah.
Oh my God!
Right.
Every time we had some random medical situation, it was like, "Oh, here comes Dr. Whale." Dr. Whale does it all.
He's got the overall.
Well, Anonymous, thank you. That was a wonderful question to start us off with. What do we have next? From Amy, and she would like to know, what is the one thing you have in common with your characters?
Oh, Jesus. Hopefully nothing.
Very fair, especially in your case.
Yeah, I think in your case you need to have nothing in common with him.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
good looks.
I'll have a think. Hopefully I won't find anything.
We'll say good looks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I get repetitive in this answer, but it is, I do mean it, which is just that I feel like Emma really had this kind of drive to do the right thing, even if it was the hard thing. And I do try to, I try to steer toward that as my North Star too. So I would say we definitely have that in common.
Very nice, very nice. Tony, how about you?
He's pondering.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's that, again, I go back, as an actor, sometimes you get a job and you think, oh my God, how the hell did I get this job? And now what am I going to do? And so, I'll go back to that image of, okay, so how is it connected? And I guess it's that the sense of, the melting pot of America and the sense of a time of loss when people came here. And, I just latched onto that. And it fed into so many different things because Storybrooke, in a kind of way, was the old world. Because he's with Pinocchio. But Storybrooke initially was the old world. It was the guy looking over the shore, missing something. It's, I'd like to think I had about 5% of Geppetto's heart.
Oh.
So.
There you go. Sweet. That is nice. Raphael, bring us home.
Yeah. Well, I that first scene, that infamous scene, but when I auditioned for it, was that relationship with, it was sort of a father-like relationship to a young Henry, Jared at 10, and I'm a dad, and I love my son, so that was obviously an easy relationship to find. I've also been in therapy, proudly, trying to find my way. We all have, our struggles, and I've struggled with some things. And so I, being able to play a therapist, or be able to say I'm not a therapist, but I play one on TV, is, I've certainly, spent my share of time there because it's helped. So, being able to kind of explore that was fun. It was particularly fun pulling people out of their lives and putting them in that room, and then having a chance to kind of have scenes out of the action and, doing other things. So anyway, I guess just finally to say is that he, obviously playing someone who represents conscience also is a lovely thing. And I hope that I can aspire to a little bit of that as well. Certainly connected there.
Right on. Excellent. Amy, thank you. Great question. What do we have next? From Noreen. If you could capture one moment in your life in a snow globe, what would it be?
Okay, first of all, Noreen, you get a gold star because I have never been asked that question before.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it either.
A trophy, because that's like the first time there's been a question that's never been asked, and it's so super unique. I need time to think about it. Someone else can answer.
I need time to think about it.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge ask. I've got to comb through my whole life.
I know.
I mean, there's the peak moment when my daughter was born, and we actually did it out of a hospital, and it was a unique experience.
Wow.
And really powerful to actually have the doctor who delivered her at home hand her to me moments after she was born. It was pretty sort of almost sci-fi in that moment to kind of have that meeting. So and without kind of the glare of a hospital, it was pretty profound.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's a globe-worthy moment. Yeah.
For me, I'd probably pick one of my family Christmases because it would be very, very appropriate in a snow globe. It would be snowing, but my favorite times are the times I get to spend with my family at Christmas. It's kind of the one time of the year that, you know, I have two sisters, so the five of us kind of get together, and because we live in so many different places now, so spread out. It's the one time where we converge and get to just spend some time with each other and our loved ones, and it's just a really, really great time. It's something I look forward to every year. So
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I think everyone I love and I'm close to in my life all together in the snow globe, looking at the snow in marching band uniforms. That would pretty much sum up
That's great. I love that.
my existence.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because,
You know,
I
for
mean,
me,
we're not going to get
yeah.
into it on this show, but I come from a marching band family.
Wow.
There's the next question, Noreen.
Tony, what's your snow globe moment?
Oh God, you know, it would have to be. I met my wife on a rooftop,
Oh.
and you know, so it would oddly be that moment. But unfortunately, there was no snow. But you could add snow easily to
Sure.
it.
now there can be.
Yeah, and you know, the number of years since has been the shake. You know, of the shaky snow. And no, I'd say that moment.
I love that.
I've seen autumn globes where instead of snow, they're colored like autumn leaves. I've seen
Oh,
those.
that's cool.
So
You can also do glitter globes.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Glitter's good.
if I picked one, it would be me watching the season finale of St. Elsewhere, where it was discovered to be a dream inside a snow globe.
No way. Oh, really?
Very clever.
Yeah, St. Elsewhere, they had a very ambiguous ending where they alluded that the whole thing was a vision of a young autistic man staring into a snow globe that said St. Eligius on it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Sorry,
That's
spoilers. Maybe
Spoiler alert.
35 years ago, but there you go.
Yeah,
So,
and then
but no-
there was a snow globe in Citizen Kane.
yes.
There was. That's true. I do
That's
remember
right.
that.
Yeah.
Rosebud. So indeed, Noreen, thank you once again. You, you definitely win a prize. Oh, what is next from Libby? What would your food
Order be from Granny.
Yeah.
French fries. Definitely French fries. I feel like that's the only safe thing on the menu.
French fries. Maybe a burger.
So-
Yeah.
Grilled cheese. Go for a nice grilled cheese
Yeah.
right about now. There
That
you go.
seems safe.
Something nice and simple.
Yeah.
You know-
the basics.
You know, Bev and I had this whole thing going on that she changed the whole menu as our relationship developed, which no one ever saw. We were just the guys at each other. But if you noticed, all of a sudden, she started having these Italian syrups. I mean,
She
what kind
did.
you know, that has Italian syrups on their shelves? And we made this whole story up. You know, with actually some, what was it? Gran Petto, and there was some sort of fanny thing with the two of them, but it never was realized. So,
That's so funny.
That's funny.
Fair. Libby, thank you. Great one. What's next? From James. What was your favorite fairy tale when you were growing up?
I feel like I
always
answer this differently every time. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I always loved the story of Aladdin growing up. I don't know if it really constitutes a fairy tale, but I guess for me it was like a Disney movie that I watched growing up. And the genie character and Jafar, all of those characters were so great, so creative, and just a really fun story. So pick that one.
Yeah.
Fair.
All those Disney movies are so good.
Oh, yeah.
Not divert, but have you guys seen Soul?
Oh, not yet.
Not yet, no.
not yet.
I mean, I don't recommend it for children. I think I would have had like an existential crisis if I watched it as a kid. It is for people who have like lived, but holy cow!
Yeah.
I mean, I really, I don't even know what to say. It was just like groundbreaking. It was so different.
One of the
It's
most
so
curmudgeonly writers I've known, who does not do anything fantastic at all, reached out to me and said, "This is brilliant." And I'm like, "But you hate everything." Okay.
No, I mean, I need to rewatch it. I watched it with my jaw on the floor. It was
Wow.
it was
I heard-
bold, take on.
Yeah, I
telling a
heard
story.
the animation was just like next level, like even more realistic. Like the shots of New York were just pretty much real at that point.
Yeah, but it's also
crazy.
just in the story that they tell. There's all this other abstract stuff that they do that's really brave.
Oh,
And
see,
I'll have to watch it.
no, it's really groundbreaking. Anyway, sorry. I had a relationship with so many different fairy tales as a kid. Like I loved the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. We watched that on VHS from PBS, like so much that the VHS tape wore out. My sister and I used to sing all the songs to each other. That is actually where all of that was the inspiration that I talked to Eduardo about for, I don't know what realm I was in or what was going on, but I had some fur like on my collar, on the cuffs of my sleeves. And it was because that was like one of the costumes that she wore in that thing. And I was like, I watched this as a little girl. Can we do a take on this?
Cool.
And then, then Little Mermaid was the first sort of new, animated Disney thing. And I learned all those songs and I loved that. And then when Beauty and the Beast came out, that just like trumped everything because it was like, Belle read, and I've always loved reading, and so that like kind of took over as my favorite.
Nice, very nice. Can't go wrong there.
I love Jack and the Beanstalk for some wacky reason. Just the whole idea of climbing up and finding magic.
But that explains your 20s, Rev.
How did you know?
Well, many hours of sitting in the rain with you.
Many nights in Steve.
I used to. Do you remember that movie? It's probably before your time, but there was a movie, Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh yeah.
There was claymation. There was all this different things in it. And I love that. Those types of movies, boy, were even more than fairy tales. And of course, Odysseus. What is that? Goddess.
Yeah.
And it was a fairy tale come true, oddly, because I ended up doing a 5-person version of it. Raphael, Andy was in it, Andy Robinson. We did that. Getty Villa.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we did the Getty Villa with five people, and it was so wonderful.
Wow.
It was such a great sort of thing to, be all of it as a boy for the adventure, and then all of a sudden, do it as an adult, and it was quite wonderful. So.
Yeah,
Cyclops. I love the Cyclops.
Jason the Argonauts, effects by the great Harry Harryhausen, and the stop motion cutting edge of its time, and Taylor. Yeah, it's just great
I have
stuff.
to tell you a quick story. In reference to the Cyclops, but back in the day when I was first in LA, my answering machine, it had 2 red lights on it. And one would be on if there were no messages, and if there were messages, a second one would blink. So my wife would ask me, she was working as an actress up in San Francisco, how was it today? And I'd always say it was Cyclops Day, because there was only one red light when I got home. I was back in the Odyssey. It was a Cyclops Day.
Let's hope the Cyclops days are behind us all. And James, thank you. I think we have time for one more, so we're gonna roll out on a good one. And this one's Sarah. What piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't take everything so serious. That would be the piece of advice I would give.
Yeah, I mean, I would expand that and say, don't take it too serious and don't take things personally. It's so hard to do, but every time I catch myself getting triggered by something, I'm like, this really has nothing to do with me. Like, this is such a waste of energy. Why am I getting riled up about this? Like, it's not going to change anything, and it really has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely fair.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. I mean, that I guess, and also just it's all going to work out, and keep breathing. The panic.
I don't know if you said that with total confidence.
That was charged.
Saying to myself, right?
When's your next therapy session?
The vaccine will come.
True. Robbie, bring us home.
For me, I just say life's short, so live every day to the fullest. Not words that I, or advice that I take as much as I should myself, but it is a good thing to remind yourself about. So life's short, goes by fast. So yeah, take it in.
Absolutely. And Sarah, thank you for that wonderful question. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of Once Upon a Time, but it absolutely does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat with our guests or purchase a personalized autograph, please head over to galaxycon.com. And while you're there, please be sure to check out our schedule of upcoming events like this one. Panelists, any final words for our audience before we go?
Just
Thanks
stay
for watching.
safe. Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of each other.
And may all your dreams come true.
Oh, thank you. It's always my pleasure. It's been my absolute pleasure to serve you all today. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you to our audience for joining us. And thank you for all your wonderful questions. Hope to see you all again later this weekend. GalaxyCon Live will be hosting cast reunions of The Phantom, Ruby, Buck Rogers, Naruto, and the Addams Family. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Take care, and please keep washing those hands.
All right, see you later, guys.